Today I'm making refrigerator pickles and I'm gonna bring you along with me. I've mentioned these refrigerator pickles that I make a few times in a couple of videos here. The latest one was my Anne of Green Gables video that I published just a few weeks ago. And I had a lot of people in the comments who were like, can you share that recipe? Can you share that recipe? I would love to, which is why I'm making this video. Originally, I was just gonna link the recipe for those folks in the comments. Here's the problem, I couldn't find it. I mean, truth be told, I only sifted through a couple of pages of results, but the recipe that I use is this one. And I printed this recipe back in August of 2010. This is from Tasty Kitchen. Pioneer Woman used to have a recipe site called Tasty Kitchen. Maybe she still does, I don't know. I mean, when I tried to visit, it did not work out for me. And all of the refrigerator pickle recipes I could find from like Pioneer Woman, they were not this one. So I guess I kind of think that's another argument for cookbooks. Like a good one is like cookbooks, they're printed in a book and they're right there for you. Yes, I love to use recipes online, but if it's something that I feel like I'm gonna use a lot or really enjoy, I'm gonna try to print it out because you just don't know when something's gonna disappear. And maybe, again, maybe these are out there, but I wasn't gonna look for more than like a couple of pages of results. So let's get going. I would say this recipe is probably one of my spring and summer staples. I make this a lot. I usually buy cucumbers about every other week or so and I make them into something, you know, during this season. A lot of times it's garlic fridge pickles like these. Sometimes I make it into a cucumber salad, just something that I can keep in the fridge and like have as a side dish or whatever. These are also very well received when I take them to things, like when I take them to a party or a cookout, you know, you can serve them in a bowl and eat them that way. I've even put these like on burgers and they're pretty dang good. You start with 2 cucumbers, as you can see, I already started slicing. I'm using English cucumbers. You can use whatever kind you want, but if they are the regular kind of cucumbers with like the thicker skin, you do want to make sure if they have like a waxy coating on them, you want to scrub that off. That's not good. That will cause you heartbreak. Maybe not that serious, but you just don't want it on there. You want to clean it off. I also really like to use those little like Persian cucumbers or like pickling cucumbers. When I went to the store to buy these, those cucumbers were like more than twice the price of just one English cucumber. So I was like, we're using these today. So you need 2 cucumbers and a couple of cloves of garlic. If you like garlic, add another one. So I've actually split my garlic in half. It's just waiting for me here. So I'm gonna slice these up. And it says 1/4 to 1/8 inch slices. You can use a mandolin slicer if you want. I never do because who's gonna be picky if I'm making them refrigerator pickles, right? I'm not making people refrigerator pickles if they're gonna criticize the thickness of the cucumber slices. It's just not happening. And I'm putting my slices in a jar. Truth be told, I usually do this in a big bowl. It's easier to serve that way. I'm just doing this in a jar because I think it's gonna be easier for me to photograph for the thumbnail. But yeah, I usually just do this in like a big bowl that has some kind of cover or lid that I can put on there. And actually, because I'm doing this in a jar and not a bowl, I'm gonna kind of like layer in my garlic. So I've already split the garlic cloves in half and you just wanna kind of smash them. You can do it with the side of your knife if you want. I sometimes just do it with like a bowl. You just kind of wanna rough them up. You know, you don't have to chop them or anything. Kind of wanna break them, I guess, smash them. I'm just gonna layer a couple in while I'm slicing up my cucumbers. Well, look who's here. Thank you to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Factor offers 35 chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meal options per week delivered right to my door. And they have something to fit a whole variety of dietary needs from keto, vegan and veggie, calorie smart, and more. Their fresh, never frozen meals arrive ready to heat and eat. No shopping for ingredients, prepping, or cleaning up afterward. Just microwave for a couple of minutes and they're ready to enjoy. The fact is, sometimes I don't feel like cooking, if you can believe that. Sometimes I just want to have some delicious food that is prepared by someone other than me. And I work from home, so the temptation to get takeout for lunch, it is there. It is there, it is real. But I know I can count on Factor for something really delicious. So today I'm trying green chili queso and chicken thigh pasta with salt and pepper roasted broccoli. That sounds amazing. It smells amazing. Something I really love about Factor, I always talk about how all the meals include veggies. It's not just veggies, it's like deliciously, more interestingly prepared veggies. I can't wait to dig in. This looks so good. So we're gonna start with the pasta. Pasta is one of my very favorite foods. Delicious. The pasta is not mushy. The chicken is well seasoned. Like the chicken, the sauce, everything's really well seasoned. Again, I don't know how they do it, but I know I love it. I'm gonna try the broccoli. Oh, the broccoli is incredibly well seasoned. Well, I'm very lucky because I get to eat this for lunch today, and I think it's way better than takeout. If you're making travel plans for spring and summer, don't worry, Factor is flexible. You can pause and reschedule deliveries whenever you need to and adjust your order size depending on what's going on in your life. Factor also offers a variety of snack options like small bites, smoothies, and juices, just like this delicious carrot orange ginger juice. If you'd like to try Factor for yourself, head to factor75.com or click the link in my description down below and use code 50cookingbooks. You'll get 50% off your first Factor box plus free shipping. That's code 50cookingbooks at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box and free shipping. Thank you again to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Now that the cucumbers are sliced, I didn't use both of them, they were pretty large. I couldn't fit all of them in the jar, so I may end up making like a smaller side batch of these in a bowl. So now we need to make our pickling liquid. So that consists of 1 cup of water and 1 cup of vinegar. I like to use apple cider vinegar. You can use white vinegar too, just whatever you have, whatever you have. I just like the flavor of apple cider vinegar. I have 1/3 of a cup of sugar, a tablespoon of salt, a teaspoon of dry dill. And we have a few things here. We have a pinch of red pepper flakes, 6, they're rolling around peppercorns, and then a little pinch of coriander seed. I like to keep the seeds, the coriander whole. That's our pickling liquid. Let me get a spoon here. I just have to put a little heat under there and stir it up. And basically you just want to cook this until the salt and sugar dissolve, and it doesn't take very long at all. This is a quick pickling method. This is not the type of thing that you would like long-term preserve in like a canning jar to make it shelf stable. This is like a refrigerator method, but these do last quite a long time. They're supposed to last like 3 to 4 weeks in the refrigerator. They don't last that long for us because usually we eat them before that time comes, or I share them with other people. Okay, that just took a couple of minutes, and the salt and sugar are both dissolved, and you can really smell the dill. Like at this point, you're gonna be like, wow, okay, this is starting to smell like pickles. So all we have to do is pour this liquid over the cucumbers and garlic. So I have my jar of sliced cucumbers and smashed up garlic cloves, and then I have my pickling liquid. I poured this into a measuring cup because it's going to be a lot easier to pour from this into this jar than it is the saucepan. I would probably have pickling liquid all over this countertop if I didn't do that. This is hot, but it's fine to put the liquid on the cucumbers. And you can kind of see, you might need to kind of like let the liquid, if you're gonna make the pickles in a jar like this, you're probably gonna need to let the liquid sort of like fill those nooks and crannies a little bit. It might end up with just a little liquid left, we'll see. Not too much. I am gonna make sure the peppercorns get in there. We'll fish them out. Like I said, yeah, normally I would just do this in a bowl, but you know, whatever, I gotta make a thumbnail for this. There we go, I'm pretty happy with that. So, yes, we have a jar of hot liquid, so I'm not gonna put the lid on just yet. I need to let this cool for just a little bit, and then it needs to sit in the fridge for at least 2 hours. That's the hard part. You can't eat these immediately, but this is a great thing to make ahead of time. I'm making these in the morning. They will be ready by lunchtime. I know what they taste like, but I'm still gonna give them a taste for the camera. So while my pickles are in the kitchen pickling, I thought I would share another library haul with you. I've gotten such wonderful positive feedback on these library hauls. You seem to like them, for the most part anyway, so I'm gonna keep doing them. But the first thing I wanna share with you is just like a little update. I did finish this book, The Genius of Judy, How Judy Blume Rewrote Childhood for All of Us, and it was really good. It was very interesting. One of the interesting things I liked, let me show you. I kind of shared this book with you, a book that I have in my own collection. This book like actually referenced this book. So I thought that was kind of cool. This book kind of like went more in depth, not just about her life, but they talked a lot about book bans. And yes, I was very aware that Judy Blume's books were banned throughout the years. I just didn't realize like the impact that it really like had on her life, that kind of thing. So if you're interested in something like that, this is a good book to read. Also, I guess I never thought about other authors kind of trashing her books a little bit, because I love them. You know, I started reading her books at like age 8, and I've never forgotten about them. I've never forgotten about her. I did think it was kind of funny. There are some other people in here who, you know, they write pieces on her stories or whatever. I don't know who those people are. I have not heard of those people. I don't remember them because I don't know them, but I do know of Judy Blume. I do remember her, and she had a huge impact on my life. So Judy, you win, I think. So I did pick up a few cookbooks at the library. So the first one is Fix It and Forget It, Best 5 Ingredient Comfort Food Recipes. Yes, another slow cooker book. I do love the Fix It and Forget It series, and they do have a lot of them. So when I see one at the library that I've not tried or, I'm kind of interested in, I'll just grab it. And I like the 5 ingredient part of this. I have another cookbook that I covered on this channel that's like a gooseberry patch book, and it's like a 5 ingredient slow cooker book. So that's why I grabbed this one initially. It's not super thick or anything, but I wanted to see if there's some stuff in here that maybe I would want to try. The next one is the unofficial Studio Ghibli cookbook. Some people say Ghibli, some people say Ghibli. I don't know. I am new to this. We started watching all of the Studio Ghibli movies. I guess I'm just going to stick with Ghibli. We started watching our way through all of the Studio Ghibli movies last year. We've kind of taken a pause from that, but I would say I've probably seen about half of them now. They're not something I grew up with. They're not something I'd ever watched before. They're very interesting to me. At first I was a little puzzled by them, but I do enjoy them. I can see why a lot of other people like them too. This book features food from those movies. Let me see if I can get a really recognizable something or other in here to show you. This is a simple one, the skillet bacon and eggs. This is inspired by Howl's Moving Castle. I think that's the first one that I watched. So there's a lot of different dishes in here that are inspired by the movies. My favorite one so far, I really like Kiki's Delivery Service, and I really like Ponyo and Totoro. And I think those kind of skew more whimsical, maybe for a younger audience. There are ones there that I've watched and I totally respect, but they're not my personal favorites. I don't know. Okay, and then this was just one that I kind of happened upon too. Like all of these I just kind of saw on the shelf and was like, yeah, those look good. Fast and Fresh Cal-Mex Cooking. And it says West Coast inspired dinners in 30 minutes or less. So another quick one. But these recipes, they just look so good to me. Black bean tostadas with street corn style salsa. I think that looks so good. And the fact that these don't take a long time. Grilled whitefish tacos with chipotle lime crema. That one right there. Quick marinated carne asada. Orange chipotle pork chops, just all kinds of different things. The photographs in this are really good too. That's kind of like, I grabbed it and I was like, wow, all of this food looks so delicious. And does it really take 30 minutes? I don't know. We'll have to try some recipes and find out. And then finally, the Tasha Tudor Family Cookbook. So Tasha Tudor was an author and illustrator of children's books. Her illustrations are pretty, I would say, like fairly recognizable. I think they're very sweet. Cinnamon raisin bread recipe. I would say the recipes are very simply prepared, but very cozy. Baking powder biscuits. These are just good, solid, simple family recipes, I guess. Lots of fresh vegetables that are prepared. I keep saying simply prepared, but that's what it is. There's nothing I would say overly fancy about this cookbook. And the illustrations are delightful. They really are. See that corgi right there? Take a look at that corgi. Isn't that excellent? Someone in my comments actually mentioned Tasha Tudor, and I don't have any of her cookbooks. So when I saw this on the shelf at the library, I was like, absolutely, I'm gonna grab that and just kind of check it out. So that is my latest library haul. If you still like these, let me know and I'll keep doing them. It's been about 3.5 hours, not 2 hours. I had a couple of errands to run. I had lunch, I took a walk, and then I did some editing. So, time got away from me just a little bit, but that's okay because the pickles are here waiting for me and they're ready to try. And I know what they taste like. I make these a lot. I can guarantee these are gonna be cool and crisp and crunchy and delicious and dilly and garlicky. I can smell the garlic. If you like garlic, you're probably gonna like these. So I'll just take, I don't know. I keep saying, I'll take one more. You know what? I'll bring this up to the camera so you can see it a little better before I bite into them. You can see the color has changed slightly and they look more like pickles. So good. They're very vinegary, so that is a warning to you. Be prepared for that vinegar punch. I like that in a pickle. Just slightly sweet. There is sugar in these, but they're not like a bread and butter pickle. They're definitely, they have a garlic dill punch. You could probably cut back on that sugar a little bit if you don't want that in there. They're so delicious. And these are incredibly easy to make from ingredients mostly that I personally keep on hand. Usually the only thing I have to buy from week to week when I want to make these is the cucumber, okay? I always have vinegar. You just get water out of the tap. You got sugar, salt, a few seasonings that I always happen to have. You could probably, if coriander is like not something you keep, it's fine, leave it out. It's just something that's incredibly delicious to make from just a few things. I think people are kind of impressed by these too, because they're like, whoa, where did you buy these? You didn't buy them, you made them at home. I got a little red pepper flake in that one. Anyway, those are the garlic fridge pickles that I make. Maybe you do it a different way, and that's great for you. This way works for me, and there's not a lot to it. Thanks to Factor for sponsoring today's video. Visit factor75.com and use code 50cookingbooks to get 50% off plus free shipping on your first box. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, share it with a friend, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I post videos about food, vintage cookbooks, and retro recipes every week. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.